Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel.
How do you change the world when you don't have an army? Seriously, today we're diving into a really unique kind of power. It's a power that was used by a select few leaders who, with basically no weapons to speak of, somehow managed to steer the entire course of history. Okay, so to get what I'm talking about, picture this. The year is 452 AD. Attila the Hun, the scourge of God, history's most feared warlord, is about to sack Rome. His empire is massive, his army pretty much unstoppable. So who does Rome send out to stop him? Not a general, not a legion. They send one single elderly priest. I mean, talk about a mismatch. And this is where it gets wild. Attila, the guy nobody could stop, turns his entire army around and just leaves. This moment right here is the perfect example of a totally different kind of power. It's proof that sometimes the right words can be way more powerful than a sword. Now, the papacy has been around forever, and in that time, there have been 266 popes. Most of them were, just keeping the seat warm. Some, let's be honest, were pretty awful. But we're going to focus on 3 who were, and this is no exaggeration, more powerful than any king or president of their day. So let's kick things off with that guy who stared down Attila, Pope Leo I, also known as Leo the Great. And to really get Leo, you have to understand the world he inherited. It was, quite literally, on fire. Back in the 5th century, the Roman Empire was just in total freefall. The best way to think about it is like a huge corporate bankruptcy, but with way more looting and burning. The government, as people knew it, it was gone. So, into this power vacuum steps Leo. His job title was bishop, but his actual job description suddenly got a lot bigger. With no one else to do it, he became the de facto mayor, the chief diplomat, even an army engineer organizing the city's defenses. He just did whatever had to be done. This quote really nails it. The Roman Empire was the Titanic, and it was going down fast. While all the officials and the elites were fleeing for their lives, Leo was the one who stayed, bringing some kind of stability to absolute, total chaos. For turning away Attila the Hun, Leo earned the title Defensor Civitatis. That's Latin for defender of the city. And this is the crucial part. He created a whole new role for the papacy. It wasn't just about being a spiritual leader anymore. Now it was about being a guardian of civilization itself. All right, let's jump forward about 150 years. You'd think things would have gotten better, right? Nope. The world had actually sunk even deeper into chaos. And this is the world that creates our second game changer, Pope Gregory the Great. By the time Gregory takes over in 590 AD, Rome is just a shell of what it once was. The city's been hammered by floods, there's widespread famine, and there's a plague so nasty that people were said to be literally dropping dead mid-sneeze. And here is a wild little piece of trivia that you probably use all the time. That plague, it's supposedly the reason we say God bless you when someone sneezes. Yep, Gregory decreed it should be said as a sort of mini prayer to protect people from the sickness. So if Leo was the ultimate crisis manager, Gregory was the genius CEO. He wasn't just putting out fires. He was building a whole new company from the ground up. You could say he created the operating system for the Middle Ages. He standardized church music. That's where Gregorian chant comes from. He literally wrote the management handbook for bishops. And most importantly, he looked north. This was his big insight. Gregory realized the future wasn't in the ruins of Rome. It was in the untamed lands of the Anglo-Saxons and other groups of north. So he sent out missionaries, and in doing so, he transformed the church from a local Roman thing into a massive pan-European institution. He basically laid the foundation for modern Europe. Okay, one more giant leap forward. We're in the 20th century. The world is locked in the Cold War, split in two by an iron curtain that looked like it would last forever. And this is the stage for our final modern giant. In 1978, something happened that nobody saw coming. At the height of Soviet power in Eastern Europe, the Catholic Church elected a pope from Poland, a man named Karol Wojtyla. And you have to understand, this wasn't just a religious appointment. This was a geopolitical earthquake. So when the new Pope John Paul II announced he was going to visit his home country in 1979, the communist government there absolutely panicked. But why? He had no army, no weapons. What could one man possibly do? He could do this. That's the number of people who showed up to see him in Krakow. For the very first time, millions of people who had been living under oppressive rule for decades stood together in one place and had this incredible realization all at once. Wait a second, there are way more of us than there are of them. See, he never called for violence or revolution. He just gave people their identity back. He gave them courage with one simple, powerful message: be not afraid. He was the detonator. Think of Soviet communism as a giant cracking dam. He didn't blow it up himself. He just tapped on that crack, and the whole thing came crashing down from the inside. So, we've got a 5th century defender, a 6th century architect, and a 20th century liberator. We're talking about 3 totally different guys, from 3 totally different worlds. And yet, there's this one powerful idea that ties them all together. Let's break it down. Leo faced the threat of total annihilation, and he fought back with pure courage. Gregory was up against complete societal chaos, and he fought back with order and structure. John Paul II stared down totalitarianism, and he fought back with truth. Their weapons weren't made of steel, they were made of something much stronger. And that right there is the big takeaway. These 3 popes prove that you don't need legions of soldiers or mountains of gold to reshape the world. Sometimes the most powerful force in all of human history is just unwavering conviction. Which, of course, leaves us with one last question to think about. These were our 3 choices, but history's full of people who led without armies. So I'll leave you with this. Who do you think was the most impactful leader in history who never commanded a single soldier?